In a world where chaos constantly swirls around us, the greatest battle we face is not with others but within ourselves. Every day your mind is bombarded by doubt, fear, and endless distractions that threaten to pull you off course. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, lost, and powerless. But what if I told you that mastering your mind is the ultimate superpower, that inside you lies an unshakable strength waiting to be awakened? Stoicism, an ancient philosophy forged in the fires of hardship and resilience, holds the keys to unlocking that inner power. It teaches us that life will never be perfect or easy, but how we respond to life's storms is what defines us. It's not about suppressing your emotions or pretending challenges don't exist. Furthermore, it's about transforming the way you face them with clarity, discipline, and courage. Today, you will learn 10 powerful Stoic lessons that have helped some of history's greatest minds master their emotions, reclaim control, and rise above fear and doubt. These lessons are not abstract ideas. They are practical tools you can start using right now to train your mind, strengthen your spirit, and become unstoppable. Are you ready to take control of the most important battle you will ever face, the battle within? Let's begin. 1. Self-observation and inner awareness. The first step to mastering your mind is learning to observe it without judgment. Your thoughts, emotions, and impulses are constantly flowing, often unnoticed, yet they quietly shape your reality. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca emphasize the power of mindful self-awareness, the practice of watching your internal dialogue and recognizing how it influences your feelings and decisions. By developing this inner awareness, you begin to see the difference between what is real and what is merely your mind's interpretation or exaggeration. You realize that many fears, doubts, and frustrations arise not from external events, but from your mental narratives. This awareness is not about suppressing thoughts or emotions, but patiently observing them with curiosity and clarity. Over time, this gentle practice leads to greater mental clarity, emotional resilience, and the ability to respond rather than react impulsively. Start paying attention to your thoughts as if you were watching a movie. Notice recurring patterns, identify moments when your mind drifts into negativity or exaggeration, and gently bring your focus back to reality. This disciplined self-observation is the foundation for mastering your mind and building unshakable inner peace. When you observe your mind closely, you'll notice how often it jumps to conclusions or creates stories that magnify problems out of proportion. For example, a minor inconvenience might transform into a looming catastrophe in your thoughts. By recognizing this, you create space between stimulus and response, a critical space where freedom lies. As Viktor Frankl, a renowned psychiatrist, said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response." This power of choice is the core of Stoic wisdom. You are not your thoughts nor your emotions. You are the observer of these experiences, the silent witness. When you truly understand this, you can stop being a slave to fleeting feelings and impulsive reactions. Instead, you develop the ability to act in alignment with reason, values, and long-term goals. Mindful self-awareness also helps you dismantle the automatic identification with negativity. Too often, people believe their anxious thoughts or self-doubts as absolute truths, which leads to unnecessary suffering. But by practicing observation, you start to see these as passing mental events, not facts. This realization is liberating because it weakens the hold of negative thinking and reduces emotional reactivity. Moreover, inner awareness sharpens your emotional intelligence. By observing your feelings without judgment, you learn to understand their origins and messages. Instead of being overwhelmed by anger or fear, you begin to explore what triggers these emotions and how to manage them constructively. This emotional mastery is essential for resilience in the face of life's challenges. The practice of self-observation is a continuous journey, not a one-time event. It requires patience, discipline, and kindness towards yourself. There will be moments when your mind wanders or you slip into old patterns of rumination. That's perfectly normal. The key is to gently redirect your attention back to the present moment again and again, like a muscle strengthening with exercise. You can incorporate this practice into daily life beyond formal meditation. For instance, while walking, eating, or even working, take brief moments to check in with your thoughts and feelings. Ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Am I reacting or responding? Is this thought helpful or just noise? This habitual awareness gradually transforms how you experience reality. In summary, mastering your mind begins with the simple but profound act of self-observation and inner awareness. It's about watching your mental processes without judgment, recognizing the difference between reality and interpretation, and cultivating the freedom to choose your response. This foundation sets the stage for lasting mental clarity, emotional resilience, and the unshakable peace that the Stoics sought. Embrace this practice daily, and you will find that the restless noise of the mind quiets, revealing a steady, calm center within. From this place, you can face any challenge with courage, wisdom, and grace. 2. Anxiety and fear. Within the mind. Anxiety and fear are two of the most common emotions that unsettle the human mind. Yet paradoxically, they often arise not from actual external threats, but from the mind's tendency to imagine and amplify worst-case scenarios. The Stoic philosophers keenly understood this psychological mechanism and taught that much of our suffering stems from the internal stories and mental projections that exaggerate dangers far beyond what reality presents. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic emperors, reflected on how often the troubles we anticipate in our minds turn out to be far worse than the difficulties we face. He advised us to distinguish carefully between what is feared and what truly exists. This distinction is vital because anxiety feeds on the unknown and on exaggerated threats which mostly live in our imagination rather than in the present moment. Seneca, another key Stoic thinker, encouraged us to engage in a reflective examination of our anxieties. By questioning the validity and reality of our fearful thoughts, we weaken their hold over us. When we ask ourselves, is this fear based on fact or assumption, or what evidence do I have that this danger will come to pass? We begin to dismantle the power anxiety holds in our minds. Epictetus, who endured severe hardships, including slavery and physical disability, taught that true strength does not come from suppressing or denying fear. Instead, it arises from calmly observing fear as it is a natural emotional response, and understanding that many of our fears are projections of imagined outcomes, not present realities. This calm observation breaks the cycle of panic and impulsive reactions. When we practice mindful observation of anxiety and fear, we start to see them for what they are: temporary states of mind often blown out of proportion by our internal narratives. This awareness creates space, allowing us to respond with clarity and calmness rather than being overwhelmed by panic or despair. The power to transform fear lies not in denying its existence or pushing it away, but in deeply understanding its nature and refusing to let it control our thoughts and actions. Recognizing that fear is often a false alarm generated by the mind helps us regain control and make decisions grounded in reason instead of reaction. Moreover, this process of mastery over fear builds resilience. Each time we face our anxieties with clear awareness, we weaken their future impact. Over time, fear loses its grip, and we become more confident and composed in confronting life's uncertainties. In practical terms, when you feel anxiety rising, pause and gently observe the sensations and thoughts without judgment. Ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid of? Is this fear based on a real present threat or on a possibility that may never happen? Ground yourself in the present moment by focusing on your breath or the physical sensations around you. This anchors your mind away from spiraling into imagined catastrophes. Remember, fear is not the enemy. It is a natural signal designed to protect us. The enemy is unchecked fear that hijacks our reasoning and restricts our freedom. By cultivating mindful inner awareness, as the Stoics advised, we reclaim the ability to face fear squarely, to understand it, and to choose a path of courage and wisdom. 3. Hesitation and doubt. Hesitation and doubt typically silently limit our actions and close doors to opportunities. The Stoics recognize that while careful consideration is valuable, prolonged indecision leads to missed chances and stagnation. Marcus Aurelius warned that waiting for perfect clarity typically results in wasted time, reminding himself that decisive action, even without full certainty, usually brings better outcomes than endless hesitation. Seneca similarly described doubt as a quiet thief of possibilities, urging timely decision-making balanced with thoughtful reflection. Epictetus highlighted how internal narratives rooted in insecurity or imagined obstacles amplify hesitation, preventing action even when circumstances favor it. He encouraged recognizing these mental barriers and patiently questioning their validity to overcome them. In today's fast-paced world, filled with uncertainty, hesitation disguised as prudence can quietly rob us of growth and progress. The Stoics teach us to embrace uncertainty as a natural part of life and to act with courage despite it. Mastery over hesitation doesn't mean rash impulsiveness, but measured, confident steps forward even when the path is not clear. It means trusting yourself enough to move ahead despite doubt, knowing that progress is born from action, not perfection. Every moment spent waiting for perfect conditions is a moment lost. Opportunity rarely knocks twice, and time, relentless as ever, does not pause for our fears. The courage to act in the face of uncertainty is the mark of true strength, a strength that grows with each step taken, each decision made, no matter how small. So when doubt whispers in your ear, when hesitation tries to freeze you in place, remind yourself progress is imperfect, but it is still progress. Embrace the unknown, harness your inner resolve, and take that next step. Your future self will thank you for the bravery you showed today. 4. Thought and action. True mastery of the mind lies not in what we think or plan, but in what we consistently do. The Stoics understood that intentions alone mean little without action to back them up. It's one thing to have grand ideas, noble goals, or inspiring dreams, but unless those thoughts are translated into steady, persistent action, they remain nothing more than empty wishes. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor whose reflections have guided countless generations, often reminded himself that a person is defined not by what they say or hope, but by their habits and behaviors. It is easy to promise change or discipline. Many can speak eloquently about transformation or virtue. Yet real change, profound, lasting change, demands more than words. It demands consistent effort day after day, choice after choice, action after action. The power of habits is the cornerstone of who we become. Our lives are shaped by the small things we do repeatedly, often unnoticed, but with a cumulative impact. Each time you choose to rise early, focus on your work, or respond with calm instead of anger, you reinforce the structure of your character. Conversely, every moment of procrastination, distraction, or giving in to temptation chips away at your potential. Seneca, another Stoic master, warned us about the danger of self-deception in this very arena. He cautioned that many convince themselves they are committed, ready, and disciplined, but in reality they continually delay real effort. They live in a state of perpetual preparation, waiting for the perfect moment to start, which never comes. This subtle form of self-betrayal keeps them stuck as intentions pile up without ever transforming into meaningful deeds. This trap is not new. It has existed as long as humans have dreamed of better lives, but feared the hard work required to achieve them. Seneca's message echoes through time. Talk without action is meaningless, and delaying effort is a quiet surrender to failure. Epictetus, the Stoic who rose from slavery to become a great teacher, taught that self-trust and confidence are built not through mere affirmations or thoughts, but through lived consistency. True belief in oneself is earned by showing up again and again and doing what is right, even when it is difficult. Every small act of discipline, no matter how mundane or challenging, strengthens the foundation of personal integrity and resilience. Consider the power of this simple truth. No lofty idea, no inspiring quote, no momentary burst of motivation can replace the cumulative force of steady, deliberate action. When you make a commitment to your values, your goals, or your character and follow through consistently, you are shaping the very core of who you are. In our modern world, filled with distractions, endless choices, and the lure of instant gratification, this lesson is more critical than ever. It's easy to get swept up in ideas and plans, to dream big on social media or in conversations, but when it comes to the daily grind of execution, many falter. Procrastination, fear of failure, overwhelm, and distraction cause even the best intentions to dissolve. But the Stoics remind us change does not come from intention alone. It arises from deliberate and repeated action. Good thoughts and reflections are important. They provide direction and clarity. But the bridge from thought to deed is built by action. Without crossing that bridge, you remain stranded in the land of dreams. Imagine a ship without a rudder. No matter how well built, it drifts aimlessly, vulnerable to the currents and winds. A mind full of good intentions but lacking action is just like a ship, directionless and powerless. Your values, your goals, and your plans are the destination and compass, but your actions are the rudder steering you forward. This balance of thoughtful reflection and decisive effort is the hallmark of Stoic wisdom. They encourage us to think deeply about our values and the kind of person we want to become. But then, crucially, they urge us to act in alignment with those reflections. By consistently aligning your actions with your values, you build character, the unshakable foundation of self-respect, integrity, and resilience. Each act of discipline, no matter how small, reinforces this foundation. And over time, these actions accumulate, creating meaningful progress that no fleeting inspiration or wishful thinking can achieve. Think of the simplest habits: waking early, focusing fully on your work, responding with kindness instead of anger, and saying no to distractions. Each of these done persistently transforms your life. The process may feel slow or invisible at first, but it is the steady erosion of old weaknesses and the steady construction of new strengths. The Stoics understood that greatness is not forged in moments of inspiration alone, but in the quiet, steady rhythm of daily action. It is in showing up again and again, choosing courage over comfort, discipline over ease. This is the real test of mastery. Moreover, this consistent action creates a positive feedback loop. Each success, each completion of a task builds your confidence and self-trust. You begin to trust yourself more because you have proven that you follow through. This trust fuels further action, making you stronger, more capable, and more aligned with your highest self. Yet the path is not always easy. Doubts, fears, and temptations will arise. You may be tempted to delay, to seek distractions, or to rationalize inactivity. But it is precisely in these moments that your commitment is tested. The Stoics teach that these are the moments to summon your inner strength to act, not because you feel like it, but because it is what your reason and values demand. In practice, how do you cultivate this mastery? Start small, but be consistent. Set manageable goals and meet them every day. Build rituals and routines that support your discipline. Reflect often, but do not linger too long in thought alone. Take action promptly. Remember that imperfect action is far better than perfect inaction. Above all, be patient and kind to yourself. Mastery is a journey, not a destination. Celebrate your progress, learn from setbacks, and recommit each day to the path of deliberate action. In closing, remember that thought and action must dance together in harmony. Your mind can conceive powerful visions and noble ideals, but it is through your actions that those visions come alive. When you bridge the gap between what you think and what you do, you become the architect of your destiny. The Stoics' timeless wisdom invites you: do not wait for perfect certainty or motivation. Begin now. Take that first step. Let your actions echo your highest intentions. And in doing so, you will forge a life of purpose, resilience, and true mastery. 5. Self-reliance and personal responsibility. The Stoics taught that true freedom and strength come from taking full responsibility for your own life. External circumstances may be beyond your control, but how you respond to them is always within your power. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that no one else is responsible for his character or resilience, only he is. Seneca emphasized that waiting for external help or ideal conditions is a form of surrender that strips away your agency. Epictetus, born a slave yet rising to philosophical mastery, insisted that relying on others for your happiness or success is an illusion. True empowerment comes from self-disciplined conscious choice and owning your path regardless of hardships. By embracing self-reliance, you stop giving away your power to fate, luck, or the opinions of others. You become the captain of your ship, steering through life's storms with courage and clarity. This mindset transforms obstacles into opportunities and failures into lessons. It fosters resilience and the confidence to face whatever comes with dignity and strength. 6. Overcoming procrastination and dependence. The Stoics warned against the trap of waiting for the perfect moment or relying on external circumstances to change before taking action. Procrastination and dependence on outside factors quietly steal your power and delay your progress. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that life is fleeting and that there is no better time to act than the present. Seneca echoed this sentiment, warning that waiting for ideal conditions often means waiting forever. Epictetus, having no external savior in his early life, understood deeply that true freedom and growth come from choosing to act regardless of uncertain or imperfect conditions. By breaking free from procrastination and dependence, you reclaim your agency. You learn that progress is built on consistent effort, not perfect timing or outside approval. The Stoics teach us that waiting passively is a subtle surrender. Instead, decisive, deliberate action is the path to mastery and self-respect. 7. Response and responsibility in life. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we always control how we respond. Your reactions shape your reality far more than external events themselves. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that events themselves do not disturb us. Rather, it is our judgments about them that cause turmoil. Seneca taught that true freedom comes from accepting responsibility for your responses instead of blaming fate or others. Epictetus reminded his students that even in the face of hardship, the power to choose one's attitude remains intact. This mindset transforms obstacles into opportunities and suffering into growth. Taking full responsibility for your reactions empowers you to reclaim control over your life and emotions. It builds resilience, fosters peace of mind, and cultivates a life lived with intention rather than victimhood. The Stoics teach that your response is your ultimate act of freedom, the space where character is built and your true self is revealed. 8. Mental discipline and inner mastery. Mental discipline is not about suppressing your thoughts and emotions, but gently guiding and shaping them. The Stoics taught that true mastery of the mind comes from consistent mindful observation and intentional direction. They emphasized the importance of distinguishing between emotions and reactions. Feeling an emotion is natural, but how you respond to it is a choice. By practicing continuous self-observation, you reduce the power that negative emotions have over you. Marcus Aurelius described this as a daily practice of watching one's internal dialogue, catching exaggerated or harmful thoughts before they take hold. Seneca encouraged cultivating a calm mind that can patiently observe feelings without being swept away by them. Epictetus taught that by developing this inner awareness, you transform the mind from an obstacle into an ally, a source of strength, clarity, and resilience. This is a gentle yet disciplined approach that allows you to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively, creating a steady foundation of peace and control, regardless of external chaos. 9. Consistency and perseverance. Building self-trust comes from consistent actions aligned with your values and commitments. The Stoics understood that character is forged through daily steady effort, rather than sporadic bursts of willpower. They warned against allowing procrastination and hesitation to weaken your resolve. Each moment of delay chips away at your confidence and weakens the foundation of your integrity. Marcus Aurelius often reflected that self-respect is earned by honoring your commitments no matter how small. Seneca emphasized that true strength lies in following through and turning intention into action consistently. Epictetus taught that perseverance transforms good intentions into lasting change, reinforcing an inner foundation that no external circumstance can shake. Through unwavering consistency and persistent effort, you cultivate resilience, deepen self-confidence, and build a life grounded in genuine self-respect. 10. Recognizing and overcoming frustration and complaints. Complaining does not change your circumstances. It only deepens your suffering. The Stoics recognize that lamenting external events wastes energy and prolongs distress without offering solutions. Complaints are typically a subtle form of surrender, giving away your power and delaying personal growth. By focusing on what is wrong instead of what can be done, you trap yourself in a cycle of helplessness. Marcus Aurelius urged turning attention away from grievances and toward deliberate action, reminding himself that peace is found not in wishing for a different reality, but in engaging fully with the one before you. Seneca highlighted that meaningful change comes from purposeful effort, not from dwelling on misfortune. Epictetus emphasized that responsibility lies in how you respond to challenges, encouraging shifting from complaint to constructive action as the path to resilience and growth. The Stoic mindset teaches that by moving beyond frustration and embracing purposeful action, you reclaim control over your life and open the door to true progress and inner peace. 11. Inner freedom through active choice. True freedom does not come from external circumstances, but from your ability to control your responses within. The Stoics taught that while we cannot always change what happens, we can always choose how to react. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus emphasized the immense power found in conscious choice, the ability to decide your attitude, emotions, and actions regardless of external events. This active agency is the foundation of inner freedom, allowing you to remain calm, resilient, and in control, no matter what life throws your way. It transforms you from a passive victim of circumstance into an empowered creator of your own experience. By practicing deliberate choice daily, you cultivate a mind that is unshakable and a truly free spirit. 12. Practical advice for life. Life is never perfect. It is inevitably filled with challenges, setbacks, and suffering. The Stoic path is not one of avoidance, but of persistent practice, ongoing cycle of acceptance, reflection, and deliberate action. The Stoics teach us to embrace reality as it is, rather than how we wish it to be. This means recognizing that hardship and discomfort are natural parts of the human experience. Instead of resisting or denying these difficulties, we accept them with courage and patience, transforming our mindset from victimhood to empowerment. Personal growth is not the result of grand gestures or sudden transformations, but the sum of small, consistent actions aligned with your values and principles. Each choice you make, each habit you form, shapes your character and builds resilience. Over time, these incremental steps lead to mastery of the self and a meaningful life. The Stoic way encourages you to turn obstacles into opportunities for growth, cultivating strength through adversity. This requires discipline to maintain your commitments even when it's hard, and wisdom to discern what truly matters. Remember, progress is not about perfection or immediate results, but about steady effort and continual refinement. By integrating these principles into daily life, you develop the fortitude to navigate life's inevitable ups and downs with grace and integrity. Your journey is unique, and while the world may be unpredictable, your commitment to growth and self-mastery will guide you through. Now is the moment to begin your journey toward mastering your mind. The wisdom of the Stoics is not meant to be admired from afar, but to be lived and practiced every day. True transformation requires continuous effort and unwavering personal commitment. It's through persistent practice that the principles we've explored become part of who you are, shaping your thoughts, your reactions, and ultimately, your life. Remember, the greatest power lies within you. It is the power to choose your attitude, to rise above challenges, and to take control of your inner world. This power has always been yours. All it takes is the decision to step forward and claim it. Start today. Embrace the journey of self-mastery and watch as your mind becomes unshakable, your spirit resilient, and your life profoundly transformed. Your mind is your most valuable asset. Nurture it, discipline it, and let it guide you to the life you deserve.